Hello, creative people. Welcome to Creative Conversations. My name is Hollis Citron, and we are so happy that you have chosen to spend your time with us. I am owner and founder of I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing, and I am on a mission to expand the definition of creativity beyond a pencil and a paintbrush and to empower people, especially adults, to own their voices and talents that come in so many different forms. This space was created to talk to people with all different kinds of jobs, hobbies, and interests, and to have conversations about experiences and perspectives, all centered around three questions. How do you define creativity? How do you incorporate it into your life? And why do you think it's important? Then we have a free-flowing conversation and we see where it goes. So I have had the opportunity to speak to so many. I've spoken to musicians, comedians, doctor, lawyer, wrestlers, Reiki masters, and entrepreneurs as young as 13. And these conversations explore the reality that creativity is not cute, it is necessary. People have defined creativity as that magic spark, how we show up in our life, imagination, basically all that we are and want to be, do, or have. So I believe from my heart that sharing these stories gives one the ability to expand their thinking, open themselves up for more self-expression, to feel more empowered, connected, and dare I say, happy. So my inspiring guest for today is Therese Skelly. She has an MA and is the author of the best-selling book, Love-Based Mission: How to Create a Business That Serves Your Soul. She also hosts the highly inspirational, fiercely brilliant podcast and is an in-demand guest on podcasts, live events, and summits. As a business intuitive, Therese guides high-achieving, mission-driven business owners who are ready to live and work in alignment and are no longer willing to hustle and burn themselves out. Welcome to the space.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am so happy that you're here. So, reading that about you, before we dive in and get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Oh, there is so much to tell, but I'll tell you about the work I do. I love people that are mission driven. I love to work with people who are inspired, and it really taps into creativity, Hollis, because so many people try to follow the formula, the gurus, the experts, and they get burned. Mm-hmm. And the work I do is I get them tuned into the inside. I say, okay, what do you want? What's in the way? Who do you have to be to make that happen? Okay, let's embody that and go. And it's so fun because it's super creative, right? I don't have the 7-step formula. I have the what does your soul want? Right, let's do it, right? So our work is really tied in with each other because it's every client, it's not formulaic, right? Every client is a blank slate. And so I work a lot with energy and emotion. I work with the body. And I just have fun. I just love my life and I love the work I get to do. So.
Ooh, this is going to be such a rich conversation. Oh my gosh. Just by even saying, what does your soul want? And every client is a blank slate. This is brilliant. And yeah. I can't wait for people to hear more, but we're going to start with the would you rather questions. Okay. So, Therese, are you ready?
I am ready. Go.
Okay. So this is a pretty simple one, but we'll see. Would you rather eat ice cream for dinner or pizza?
Well, I have a really super clean, low carb, gluten-free diet, but if I wasn't on my low carb, gluten-free diet, I would go for pizza any freaking day. So yeah.
Do you have a preference for toppings?
I'm kind of on the wild side. I'm going for the processed meats, Hollis. I'm okay with the sausage and the pepper. I mean, and I feel just like, a Satanist saying that, but occasionally a girl needs a little processed meat. So yeah, but I don't eat pizza. I've given up a lot of the carb things. So now you're having me craving pizza.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's a test.
I will pass. I'm disciplined. Trust me.
You are. Okay. So we're going to dive into the first official question, but I'm just letting you know, there's like a little bit of lags going on. So I don't know if it's messages coming in, but I'm just kind of letting you know
Okay,
that
perfect.
there's there. Okay. So how do you define creativity?
Um, I feel like there is a divine spark in us that wants to express through us.
Mm.
And the vehicle is like desire, expression, play, voice. And so I think creativity is like an outpicturing of all that.
Mm. That's really rich. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, it's just the divine, it's like, it's everything,
It's everything.
basically.
That's why I'm like, that is a really big question. So,
I know.
but how fun you get all the different answers, right? That's how I'm sure everybody's like, whoa, every different
It's
answer.
it's so beautiful, like the different the array of
Hmm.
responses to it.
Hmm.
So let's learn more about you.
Okay.
So wherever you want to start on your journey, yes, I know it's open-ended,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
wherever you want to feel that you want to start, because I love that in this area that you started as a counselor for
Well, actually,
25 years.
I'll tell you this. This is even funnier. I actually started as a prison guard. So what?
So
I'll tell
how old were you for that?
I got a master. I'm sorry. I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I found myself as a prison guard at age probably 24. And
Mhm.
let me just say, it's never a good idea to put a flamingly codependent, empathic, like boundaryless little baby into a prison and expect them to flourish. Um, Now the good part is here's pretty. This was magical. I had a lot of dissonance because I trusted the inmates more than I trusted the staff, because the
Mm.
staff didn't see humanity. They saw maggots. They saw people that were going to screw them over. And I come from this space of innocence. And again, I'm an empath. And I the expression, Hollis, there, but for the grace of God go I.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I had driven drunk. I just didn't get caught. I one time
Mhm.
stabbed my brother with a fork in a crime of passion. And these women were there for domestic, they shot their abusing husbands, they got caught. And so it was such a pivotal thing, because I just saw,
Mhm.
like, we're not different. You just got caught, or your circumstances, your situation. So it was a profound experience at 24, really very difficult, because it was so overwhelming. And imagine, again, a little flaming empath codependent in the horrific energy that a prison is. Anywho, so that's a fun fact most people
So
don't know.
so wait, how long did you stay in that space for?
Just about 2.5 to 3 years, and then I
That's
went.
what do you mean
Then,
just? That's a lot
yeah,
of
I know it's a
time.
lot of time. I got some stories, girl. And then I
Mhm.
went on to work. Then I was getting my master's. I worked in a psychiatric hospital for a while. Then I got my master's in counseling. And then I moved into working with addicts and alcoholics. I did that for a few years in a treatment center, outpatient. And then one day a girlfriend was like, I want to start a private practice. I'm like, yeah, me too. That was it. Then I'm in business, right? That's all I knew. So I really was, and still kind of am, the accidental entrepreneur. And it's really, it's my, I am always a big believer that you just trust the soul, like trust that your soul has you in the right place. And so I did life coaching. So I was a therapist for lots of years. Then I went to life coaching school. And about, I don't know, 3 years after that, so this was now probably 2004, I saw an ad that said business coaches wanted. And what's so magnificent is, you heard that I worked in a prison, I worked in a psych hospital, like I worked with addicts. What part of that speaks volumes about being a great, so the crazy part, I also, it was the first time that I ever had the experience of a deep, you have to do that, right? Like, because on paper, like, I thought Excel was a phone company. I had never worked in corporate. I knew nothing about business. Somebody said
Mhm.
P&L, and I'm like, I don't even know the language you're speaking here. So
Right.
boom, I apply, and the next day I'm a business coach. And it was a lot
Mm.
of, oh shit. Like, oh my God, what do I do now? And thankfully, I had really good mentoring. But what I did is, so when you asked me to tell about myself, what I did is I bumped into all my stuff, all my not enoughness. So here I have exquisite, because as a trained therapist for a really long time, I got some really good background in working with people. I suck at the business part. I didn't know that part. But
Mhm.
the coaching piece, I was really good at, right? And yet I came into this space with a massive chip on my shoulder. I'm sorry, I'm not enough because I'm sorry, I don't have this. And I was really in deep not enoughness, proving energy. And I wasn't successful in the beginning. It took me years to
Mhm.
get to the six figures and battle through the the chronic shame and not enoughness. So it really forged a lot of my work about how mindset and energy, and how you can be the smartest one in the room, you can be the most credentialed, you would have it all. And yet if there's those underlying things that go, yeah, no, you can't, right, that will hold you back.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, I'm like taking all this in. So, thank you. First, I want to
Hmm.
acknowledge the people that are here with us live. Thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate you. Any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the chat box where we can see them. Um, this whole thing of you obviously listening to yourself and being
Yeah.
very what's the word that I'm looking for right now? You which my vocabulary, you act on things quickly. So
Hmm.
you are like, you see this, you got pulled about the coaching and the business coaching. You're like, I'm applying. You
Hmm.
got the job. And then this whole thing, thank you so much for bringing that up of, I am sorry, I am not enough because
Yeah. Yeah.
that's, we
And we
carry that. And
we
that
all have it.
is,
We
we
all have it. Yeah,
all
it's
have it.
crazy. It's crazy. Here's an example. I was working with a woman who, she was new in the coaching space, right? So she was relatively, like, within the first year, and she was charging something like $50 a session. And I was like, oh, no, 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 Kathleen, no, we got to
Mhm.
raise that. I'm sorry. Like, that's not. And her previous career, she was a political fundraiser in a you would know the city, and you would know the people she was like, raised
Mm,
multiples of millions. And I'm like, girl, like
mhm.
like why can't you transfer the badass version of you into this? So yes, you are newer here, but let's take all that, like, I like own that. And when she owned that, boom, she like quadrupled her rates like instantly. But we have the story. See, we're on the story. Like, oh, because for me, I didn't have business experience, so therefore I suck and I don't deserve the money, as
Mhm.
opposed to, nah, I got some game, right? But we all bring the whatever that is. I'm not enough because, or I'll be enough when, or if you only knew. Like, that's the voice of shame that just suppresses our greatness and our magic and our creativity. It's all connected.
It's all the same thing because if we
Mm-hmm.
don't see our worth, if we don't believe in ourselves, then we're low energy. Then we're
Yep.
which means we're depressed. We are angry. We're
Yeah.
whatever emotion and action you want to attach to that, where there hardly is any action from that space. So if
Yeah.
you're not taking action and you're not filled with a passion that's productive, then you're creating regardless. So creativity is happening regardless because we
Mm.
are creators. It's just a matter of, are you happy with what you're creating?
What do you want to create? Well, I was creating the things that I didn't love, right? Like
Mhm.
clients that I'd be like, oh shit, they're on the schedule today. And that's horrible. Like, I'm owning that. You never
Mhm.
want to look at your book of appointments and just go, okay, I guess I'll work with them, And it's
Right.
because when you're in that space, you can't own your value. You can't stand up and say, no, I'm not for everybody. This is who I work best with. You feel like you have to say
Mhm.
yes, and you have to settle, and you don't get what you want, right? So it's kind of like unlearning that we can even go there. Like, there's a whole lot of conditioning for women about what we get. And so yeah, it's just a much better on the other side. Let me just tell you that.
Mhm. So in what I call this busting shame, clearing blocks, living unapologetically.
Mhm.
So can you give us, I know it's a whole process, but in your I am sorry, I'm not enough because, how did you move past that?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I know the day I had an experience. So what happened is I had been a therapist for years and years, master's degree, lots of experience, all the training. And then I was life coaching, which is not that much of a jump, but then business coaching, right now I'm doing
Mhm.
marketing and selling. And, I was in a new world basically. So
Yeah.
the first company, I was with a coaching company, and oh, Hollis, we had to do cold calls.
Mm,
I like, they would give us lists of leads. So nobody had any idea who I was or even the company, but
yeah.
somehow they had bought these leads, and I would have to call them and say, hi, John, the plumber. Can I give you a free session? As my voice is quivering. And so
Yeah.
I started doing that. And I remember like failing. Just again, I was set up. No, cold leads suck, right? It's just a very difficult situation.
It
And so
is.
there's this one day, I think I had one session, and I was so frustrated with myself. And my friends and my colleagues were uh, you're pissing us off because you're like the best one of us. What is wrong with you? My God, own your shit, woman, right? And so I'm like,
Mhm.
but I was just a therapist, so I was really in the story. And thankfully I had, so number
Mhm.
one, having people outside of you that show you the truth of you, because you can get sucked down in it, right? I was in it. I had
Mhm.
no other vantage point. So I finally stopped and I said, okay, I'm just really getting sick of myself. So what's it going to take for me to feel as masterful? And I want, literally, if you're listening, this is a magical technique, right? If you have a not enoughness, I'm going to give you the technique. This is what's it going to take to feel as confident as a coach as I did as a therapist. So I asked myself the questions. Is it going to be when I have X amount of time in the industry? It's like, no, that's not it. Okay, is it going to be when I have X amount of clients? No, that wasn't it even in. Because I can tune in. Like, I know what would be right answers, right? Is it going to be when I make X amount of money? Nope. And then the magical one for me, when I feel as masterful conducting a coaching session as I do a therapy session. And I remember the day, I remember her name, I remember the client, and I'm like, oh, it arrived. God damn it. Here I am. Right? I was just like, boom, boom. So that's one story. You literally have to say, okay, if you're in a story of not enoughness, or I have to prove, for me, that there was a legitimate gap there, because sometimes when you're newer there is a gap, you don't know.
Right.
But unless you say, okay, here's the path. So for me, I needed to feel mastery. Well, maybe I needed to beef up some skills, right? That's legitimate. But shame will basically say, you're never enough. Never, no matter what you do, get another certification, lose 5 more pounds, get more Botox. Like, shame will basically convince you. It's insatiable. So it's
Yeah.
really important that you have it specific. And then I have one more story. My
Mhm.
very first client from that coaching company, her name was Diane. Very first client. She had been in a corporate situation, let go, and she came to me with zero business idea. So, like, a total startup. And after 3 years, she was making like $300,000 a year. She was, and I didn't know that was kind of like, wow, that was pretty impressive, right? And so I
Mhm.
said to her, okay, Diane, so what did you get from working with me? Because in my mind,
Ah.
I
Mhm.
said, okay, we set up your newsletter. We figured out your offerings. I've helped you with some mindset. We helped create teams. I'm, in my mind, thinking of the things I did. And she said these words, Therese, working with you, I'm 5 years ahead of anybody else that would started on the same day. You helped me accelerate my success. And I
Mhm.
had no idea. That day I raised my rates and I changed my business name. My old name used to be Accelerating Your Success. So those are ways. And at that point, it took external things for me to go, oh, I got it, because I was so stuck in it, right?
Yeah. It's beautiful, and it's so true because shame is insatiable, and that nasty critic that we would never be
Yes.
friends with on the outside, like everybody says, we would never be friends with them, but for some reason they
We
live with
invite them
us.
for tea. Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
like,
right.
sure, just live in, move in,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we can
Mm-hmm.
live together. Um, but it is so important to. I remember somebody saying to me, reach out, do a post on
Yeah.
why you think I'm good at what I do, or how, like you
Mm,
said, how have I helped you? And
yes.
there is that space where it's kind of like, it can be really uncomfortable. Like, first, is anybody going to answer?
Right.
is
Right. Right.
or is that narcissistic, or da da da? But hey, we're a business.
We need
It's
feedback. I know. Well, here's a funny thing. Narcissists never wonder if they're narcissists. So if you're going, oh
uh,
no, I could be a narcissist, you're not, just by virtue of that, right? And what I know, people love to help you. Like really, people are wanting you to achieve. And so, like I could say, hey, Hollis, after this, would you give me a testimonial about how I was as a guest? Of course, you'd be like, sure, right? Like people are gracious and they want to support you. So it's our because shame will tell you you're being a bother. That's a lie of shame. Don't ask. You don't need that. They're too busy. Blah, 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 blah. So when you ask how I got through it, I just say basically fuck off shame. I'm just like shh. Like I understand the voice of shame. I understand how it feels, and I understand the high cost. And so I do everything I can to like and get away.
mhm,
You're not touching me. And that means different actions, taking risks, feeling uncomfortable, and understanding. And it's okay to say, Hollis, I feel really uncomfortable asking you for a testimonial, but would you do it? It's okay to out that.
yes,
Then shame can't be there, right? Shame is like, oh crap, there's light. Darn it.
yes, yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about humanization. People are craving, and I don't know if it's because
Yes.
of all that I don't know if it's because of COVID or if it's always been there, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's even more
Mm-hmm.
highlighted now that
100%. Yeah.
people like humans, like the
Yeah.
humanization aspect of things. So when you mess up, people are like, aren't judging you and laughing at you. They're like, oh my God, I do that all the time too.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
nice to see a person do that. Or, as you're stating, this makes me uncomfortable, but would you write me a
Mm-hmm.
testimonial?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, People respond to that.
So much so. Really. Absolutely. Yeah. I was doing a webinar recently and right, let's say 1 o'clock when it's supposed to start, boom, the internet goes out. And so I have a few, 30, 40 people in the Zoom room. Then I'm like, so I grab my phone and I just am like, yeah, okay, here we go. And I'm just, and I had exquisite content in the webinar.
Right.
What I got the most feedback on was, I can't believe how you handled that. You
Mm,
just like, because a lot of people would have been like, oh, this is wretched, oh my god, and because I'm always about demonstrating how to take shame and say no. And so I love when I publicly mess up because I
mm,
can be in grace, I can be in gentleness, I can just go, okay, well, here we go. and and seriously, but you don't see that a lot in our industry. There's a lot of pretense
yeah.
and a lot of posturing. And so I come and be like I just started a new membership community. It's really funny. And I'm like, okay, guys, it's beta. You get half off right now, and there's going to be hiccups. And so I'm like, all right, all the calls are on Tuesdays. And they're like, well, I thought you said Thursday. I'm like, shit, yes, I did. I meant Thursdays. And it's okay. And I say, see,
Yeah.
you can make mistakes, because what happens is shame
Yeah.
tells you unless you're perfect, you can't do anything. So I have to say, that's crap. We can be here, be real, make mistakes, and people still, I mean, I just be real with it, because then there's no God, what's she trying to hide? I'm just like, yeah,
Right.
here I go again. Teresa is Teresa and Mercury is Mercury, and wowza, we are getting some funky stuff happening. And so yeah, and people, they literally say to me, thank you. I
Yeah.
needed to see how you handled that, because it
Yeah.
takes the imposter syndrome off of them. I'm not an imposter when I'm like, well, that was wacky. There's no
Yeah.
shame there. And so,
No.
like you say, it humanizes the experience of when sometimes things work and sometimes you fall on your face, and you're equally loved in both of those, right? That's what we got to know.
That is so what we have to know. And I'm sitting here thinking, ever since I was a kid, I have laughed when people trip or
Oh
when they
God, I do too.
fall.
Oh my gosh, yes. Don't you feel like a psycho? They're writhing on the pain. I'm like doubled over.
Oh my God, that you say that. And I do it when I fall too, and when I
Mhm.
trip, I laugh. But there's many stories, but I'm thinking of my father when I was younger. We were getting into the car as a family, and my brother and I are in the back seat, my mom's in the passenger seat. My dad gets into drive and he smacks his head.
Oh gosh.
And this happened probably like, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still giggle at it.
Yes,
And
yeah.
he gets in the car, he smacks his head, and he's like, fucking shit. Like he's just kind of like rubbing his head. And I am biting my lip. I'm just like, Hollis,
Mhm,
don't, because it's
mhm.
just gonna. And
Yeah.
then without even turning around, I don't know how much time went by, and he goes, Hollis, just laugh. And I went, thank you.
We know it's happening. Yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. You have
And
to. You
I
have
tell
to.
that story because it leads into this. I think it's a way of thinking and it's a way of being that when you see the trips and when you see the mess and you kind of giggle, then it's easier to hold yourself in that space
So much so.
when
So
this
much so.
stuff happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because shame makes you. So let me just give you a little teaching on shame, right? Because some people go shame. It's a weird word, right? So guilt is what you do. So if I'm standing next to you and I accidentally step on your toe, I'm like, I'm sorry. Guilt like pulls us back. We can go, oh gosh, I need to make amends, or I don't want to act that way, or I'm sorry about that, right? So guilt is about your behavior and your action. Shame is about who you are. And very
Mm,
often it comes, we inherit generational trauma, we inherit cultural things, you know, there's things that happen in history that, like, if your family comes from the Holocaust, or like, it's like, oh, there's a lot of bad stuff you carry in, the Irish, we've got the suffering and the famine, like, we bring the traumas and the shame in with us. And so we
mhm,
literally come out going, who I am in the world is not okay. I have many, many clients, because I do the energy work, and I get to the origin of it, and I use my intuition. I'm like, what was your birth story? Because here we are, we're growing your business. Go back to in utero when your mom was
mm,
7 months pregnant, and they'll be like, oh, I wasn't wanted, or oh, they wanted a boy. How do you
mm,
how do you unpeel that? Because that gets imprinted, that your very being is not wanted, not enough, wrong, inconvenient. The, there's no amount of good
mhm,
cheerleading, if you don't understand that is going to peel that from your nervous system and your physiology and your cells. So when you have the sense of, when you walk in a room, do you walk in equal in worth? Do you walk in like, I deserve to be here? And most of us, or many of us, just like, oh God, I got to prove something, right? So for me, the antidote to shame is love. And so when
mm,
I mess up, I demonstrate, and I can be loved right here. When my
mm,
clients are like, oh, that launch didn't work. Okay, that's all right. Can you apply gentleness? Can we love you right there? And that's
mm,
what fixes shame.
mm. That's really powerful. And it's understanding too that okay, how am I going to word this? Everything that you just said about who am I in the world, and when you
Mm-hmm,
said what is my birth story,
mm-hmm,
and going back and kind of finding out if people have heard these things that they
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
didn't want them and all of this kind of stuff.
Right.
What you're talking about in this is acknowledging that yes, our body holds on to
Oh
this.
my gosh.
We hear this, we hear this stuff, and we don't always recognize it, and our body holds it. So when the situation presents and we make that acknowledgement to our body, it's not sitting here being victim, victim, victim,
Yes,
victim.
yes.
I wasn't wanted. They hated me. Which all of that can come along with it. But what I think you're talking about, and I come from that perspective too, is okay. This has been recognized. Now, how do we
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
energetically release this
mm-hmm.
and move
Yeah.
forward?
Oh, so that's the question. Yeah. I always say, when you have awareness, you have choice. And so I'm a huge believer of noticing, right? So let's say, like earlier this morning, I reached out, where I've got a colleague that I was talking to her, and I said, you know what? I'm going to make an ask of you. do you know a couple of people that I want to take a couple more clients on? Who do you know? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now the old me would have been like, oh, don't ask. Oh God. Oh, that's really hard. And so for me, I have the awareness that number one, I want to do this. Number two, okay, is there dissonance? Is there any resistance? Because to me, the resistance is the gold.
Mm.
So you get an instinct or an impulse. Okay, that's what I want to do. Maybe you want to ask somebody on a date. Maybe you want to raise your rates. Maybe you want to do a performance. Maybe you want to. So boom, you have a desire. Listen for the resistance.
Mm.
So it could be a physiologic. Maybe you're like, wow, it's weird. I feel 9. Okay, boom. What happened when you were 9? Right. That's the work I do. Is like go to the origin. Or maybe you start hearing the voices in your head. Not that you're schizophrenic, but it's that inner
Mm-hmm.
dialogue. The inner dialogue of like, oh, she probably doesn't know anybody. I shouldn't ask. Blah blah blah. Like that is the goal. That's how you mine it. And then the question is, so sometimes it's on a cognitive level, is that really true? What's really going to happen? Because I do that kind of work with people, but very often it's, what does this remind you of? When did you learn that you can ask? When did you learn that you know what I mean? And sometimes I literally have people find the child part, and we do some kind of inner child healing work. Or
Mm.
sometimes I can figure out like, oof, this is really weird. I was in this membership program that I'm running. I was doing a mastermind, and I was doing like a group channeling, clearing, and it was so weird. All of a sudden, Holland, I'm like, grandfather. There's grandfather energy, and there's like 15 people in the room, right? And I'm like, there's something about the grandfather energy. There's some healing about not being able to receive. There's something about a grandfather. I don't know anybody's grandfather. And
Mm-hmm.
3 women were like, oh my God, you were talking to me. It was my grandfather that did XYZ. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's going to somebody, if you can't identify it, finding a healer, finding somebody that can do the generational work and go in and find like, wow, what else are you carrying? But you can do a lot of it on your own if you start looking at the resistance.
I love that resistance is gold. And I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. No, I mean that's the key. You could, because most people, what happens is like we hear like, I wanna raise my rates, and then boom, little voice, little voice, little voice, little voice. So we go, oh yeah, you're right. That's crazy. You have to power through. You have to, you know. I did a performance recently. Did you know I did that? I did Terry's story performance. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, you did? No, I
I
didn't see it.
did. Oh my gosh. So if you,
Wow. How was that? That's amazing.
well, this wasn't a weird non sequitur. I'll bring y'all up to speed, right? So we have a mutual friend
That's
who
okay. Hmm.
who creates environments for people to share their stories, and she invited me in, and I said yes to telling the story. And then 5 days later, I'm like, what the hell did I do? Oh my God. Oh my God. Because this was
Yeah.
really a stretch. It wasn't just
Yeah.
reading a story, it was performing for 8 minutes, really putting my heart and soul. And it was a super vulnerable story.
Yeah.
And for me, what helped me was to say, what is the why? Why does this story matter? Why? And I'm like, because women need to hear this. This is the transform thing. Okay, I can go through a little fire. I can be really uncomfortable because I know this is going to be healing for people.
Yeah.
So small self trees, shut up. I don't
Yeah.
care. And I was really nervous. I was doing EFT before. I peed 15 times. And I'm just like, all right, God, let's go. And I was very well rehearsed, but what was
Yeah.
so cool, Terry, is I put myself on the edge of like, I'm literally going to pee in my pants. I'm so nervous right now. And
Yeah.
so what? Get on the toilet
Yeah.
again and get
Yeah.
out there, right? And so that's how you bust shame. That's how you break through. That's how you allow your voice, your creativity, your passion. You have to be willing to walk through some uncomfortable things.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah, it's like, and I love the honesty in what you're saying. It's like,
Mhm.
yes, if you feel like you're going to vomit, if you feel
Mhm.
like you're going to pee, if you're feeling like you're going to poop, if you're whatever, it's just like, you got to do it. It's
Yes.
just like, but you got to do it in the sense when, because only you as your own person knows what that feeling
Right.
is
Exactly.
when it
Correct.
feels right. So there's
Right.
obviously the feeling that doesn't feel right, where then you don't do it. It resonates in a different way. But when
Mhm.
it's that, for me, when it's that butterfly feeling where it's like an intuitive hit in my stomach. And at the same time, I'm in a different space than I was a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally and mentally. And I say, scares the shit out of me. Yeah, let's do it. Like,
Nice.
bring it
Nice.
on. Okay.
Yes.
I have a
Yes.
TV show now with a camera on me
Oh,
and I'm interviewing guests.
nice.
I never wanted to ever have a camera on me.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with the way I look. Do I look fat? Does my
Mm-hmm.
hair look right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I
Mm-hmm.
dressed right? Am I da da da? So, what I saw for myself in this circumstance was, like you said, this stretch was okay. So, this is self care time. This is time where,
Mm.
Hollis, you have to schedule a haircut and color appointment every
Mm-hmm.
4 to 6 weeks, not every
Mm-hmm.
3 months. So every 4 to 6 weeks. And I am actually going to go clothes shopping and ask for
Whoa.
help.
Whoa. But what I heard is a couple of things. You did it in spite of not being perfect or feeling completely comfortable, right?
Yes.
You said
Yes.
yes. And then now, I loved your trajectory because now it's like, wow, you're in it. And now you're getting more, like when I did my story, oh, I got such great feedback. I felt so loved and I felt transformed. I felt
Mhm.
expanded. And that to me is creativity. That's what it does. Like when you're putting yourself out, and it could be creativity in any form, right?
Yes.
If
Yes.
you allow it, if you lean into the, it might suck. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, are you going to die? No. Okay, shut up and do it. You'll be all right. Right. When you lean in, then it's like, oh, I'm in a different universe. Oh, whoa, there's an expansion here. And so that's the magic that it brings. It's an energy. It's like, I didn't know I had that. I mean, literally, people are like, I thought you're professional. Like, really? Like, oh my freaking, one of my girlfriends, she's like, oh, you got to do the moth. And now we got to get you on TEDx. And I'm like,
Yes.
okay. Right. It's like, I found something in me because here's what I decided. As I say, I'm going to leave it all on the table. I'm going to give everything to this performance.
Mhm.
And I achieved it.
You did it.
And there's not a lot of things in my life, I'm pretty cozy here. I got things good. There's nowhere in life where I'm like walking on that razor's edge of like, this is so cool and holy god, it's going to kill me.
Mhm.
Right, like creativity and performance and all that stuff. Most of us don't live that edge, right?
Yes.
So that was really cool to put myself there.
Oh, so many quotes. Most of us don't live that edge
Yeah, yeah.
because we want to stay in that safe zone.
Yeah, and I was listening to all this like longevity, Dr. David Sinclair longevity. He's like, specialist in that. And here's what I didn't know. In the body, fun fact from listening to a scientist, right? There's the abundance and then there's the stress, right? So let's say you eat steak and you're really well fed. There's a comfort to that. But long term, that does not regenerate you. That doesn't give you longer life. What gives you longer life is when you're in a fasted state, when you exercise hard enough that you're kind of tearing the muscle fiber. Like when you add a stressor, then your body's like, oh shit, I gotta make more cells. We gotta have more energy, right? And
Mhm.
so it's such an interesting metaphor. That's how our cells live. And yet here we are like, oh, I've got to be cushy and comfy and have spa days. Well,
Mm.
actually, it's more generative to put yourself in like, oh gosh, that was hard. That repairs more. That gives more, like literally more life and metaphorically more life. So
It make
I'm all for like, how can I find a little discomfort? So
it makes sense. It's kind of like the caveman thing. It's the fight or flight. It's the,
yes,
taking
yes.
care of the, all of that being said. And yeah, yeah, that totally makes sense. And it's such a good reminder. And it's a really good segue actually to, for you, how do you incorporate more? You talked about the storytelling, but how do you incorporate more creativity into your own life?
I will acknowledge I'm not like I'm not an artist.
This isn't
So,
about being an artist.
no, that's what I mean. But no, see what I'm saying is I get in a story and that's what happens. So I'm demonstrating, oh,
Mhm.
wait. Um, so with my business, like say I do a webinar, I love to make the little PowerPoint. I love, that's really fun.
Mhm.
Um, I think I'm pretty creative. I'm Irish. We're storytellers, right? And so I'm pretty creative with my storytelling, with my writing. I don't just write like feature, benefit. I, I write. I write really well because I speak from the heart, right?
Hmm.
So I'm
Hmm.
pretty creative there. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know.
How about
I bought some new succulents from my house. I don't know if that counts, right? So
it does as far as decorating. So I'll throw a few
yes,
things
yes.
out there.
Okay, perfect.
Decorating, interior decorating, exterior decorating, gardening, going for walks,
Yes, yes. So
exercise.
yeah, exercise. I do Pilates, and I kind of rock. Unless I'm like one of the older women, and I'm really strong and flexible, and I'm like, ha!
Yeah. That's impressive.
That is, oh, that is because in 2021 I had really bad COVID and I couldn't exercise. I couldn't
Mhm.
exercise with COVID for 8 months, and then I had a hand injury. Then I couldn't exercise for another 7
Wow.
months. So for me, I'm like, oh yeah.
Go
Decorating,
you.
I'm okay. You would be like, oh, that's nice, but it's not my like, let's move walls and paint. I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm I'm the energetic and mental creative, not so much the physical space. Every
Mm.
day I go for a walk. I live next to a golf course, and I just love taking my dog on the walk on the golf course. I create via dog training. I've got this really well trained dog, and so that's a lot of working and creating and getting him to
Mhm.
where I want to be.
I love that. I haven't heard that one. Yeah, that's great. Well, animals too. Animals are so God, they're just so amazing. um
Yeah.
because they're just so there for you. They're so real and they're just there. We laugh because we have three cats. So as we're just kind of watching them
Mm.
interact and then they
Hmm.
love being with us, like
Of
our
course.
cats run to the door when we come in. They're like dogs. Especially one of them, I'll come in and I'm like, "Why are you making me wait, Mezzy? Where are you?" And all of a sudden he'll come running down like, "I was
Mm.
I was just waking up. I was just waking
Yes,
up."
like hold on, yeah.
But,
Mm.
as they're laying there and their tails are, like, intertwined, I'm like, "Those are their
Oh,
spines." And it's like, that's really
yeah.
weird when you think about it. Like, we have these four-legged creatures in our house hanging out with us and just sharing love. Like, that's why
Oh,
they're
so much
here.
so. I know. I love it. Yeah, one of my favorite things. Yeah, I'm really proud that this you'll laugh. So I'm most proud that I have a really well trained dog and a really amazing boyfriend. And I cannot say I trained the boyfriend. I, I and what both of those are is I trained me. That's the difference, right? And for the first
Mm.
time ever, I've literally never this dog, I can take him off leash. He's like the star of dog school. And the boyfriend, ooh, ooh, ooh. And it's because I trained me. I trained me. So sometimes creativity is figuring out how to say something to a very strong man. That's not
But
like
that
you did that wrong again. Like that's not creative. It's just
that's
like
not
that's
good.
took a lot of creativity to navigate the boyfriend, and oh, it's magnificent now. So
But that's a really amazing point too, is it's the whole thing of just coming back to self because it all stems from us.
100%,
It's that
100%,
whole
yeah,
thing of yes, we create our own reality and take responsibility and you could sit there and say, but there's this, there's that.
yeah.
Our mindset, how we choose to respond, all of these things affect how we feel in an outcome.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that is everything, and when that changes, I know that it changed when I left, um, my teaching space that I was in, and I started my companies. I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing, which came along later.
Mm,
There's a difference in how I show up to my family and other people,
yes,
but just
yes.
speaking with my family, I mean, they're always making some kind of a comment. When my kids like have gone places and I am actually able to be present with them to do things.
Mm, yeah, I love
When my
that.
husband and I can go for a walk during the day, because we both work from home
Hmm.
and just
Mm,
walk around the neighborhood to get some fresh air. And my
yeah.
mom said to me the other day, she's like, I love listening to you talk to others with such confidence in your business voice.
Oh, that's lovely. That's very sweet. Very sweet. Yeah. Great.
But it's owning our stuff in order for it to come out. It's the only way it works.
Bingo. 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 And in order to do that, there's a lot of unpacking, because you're a little bit younger than I am, but we are swimming in the women still don't have access fully to their voice. If a woman is, it's like, hey, oh, she's a bitch, right? You know what I mean? There is still a lot of, I was raised with frickin' June Cleaver. And so it's work. There is the cultural conditioning that we have to identify and go, why can't I? Here's a story. I was on a board probably 10 years ago. I was on a board of directors at actually my church, and I come in wide-eyed, exuberant, and I'm, in my mind, it's a church, but it's a business, and I'm going to ask questions, and I have a marketing background, and I'm here to help. And I had such issue with the executive director. He stonewalled me. He was shitty to me. And at the time I was just really like, but he doesn't like me, right? And word got back to me that I hadn't earned the right to have the place to speak and those opinions.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was really interesting because of the coach I had at the time, I'm like, Richard, so-and-so doesn't like me. And my coach is like, great. You get a chance to learn to lead without being liked. What? Big game changer. Because women have been, we have to be nice. We have to be conciliatory. We have to be good, all that shit. And so it was a magical lesson of like, you can lead and like forego being liked. But when you have shame, you have to be liked. You have to get approval. You have to be, that whole thing. So I think the third part of your title for this is like an unapologetic life. What was the title?
Busting shame, clearing blocks, living unapologetically.
This is how you do it.
This is how you do it.
You're completely connected to your truth. You trust that what you know, right? Your inspiration is there for a reason, and you act on it. That's it.
That's simple and that's challenging.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
There's the answer to life, everybody.
Did you like how I segued though? That I like wove us back to the part of the unapologetic life. I figured I would, wrap it.
You did. That was really good.
Boom.
Drop mic. Before we go to the last question, I'm going to ask real quick. Do you have any kind of a morning routine?
I do now. Yes. So I'm listening to these people like the scientist. I love the Huberman Lab podcast. And it's just science and just setting yourself up right. So I don't do a cold plunge, but I get up and I take a cold shower in the morning. Except I live in Arizona, like, full disclosure, cold shower is probably right now, right? And I'm like, oh, it's like 80-degree temperature right now.
It's chilly right now.
Yeah, I'll see how I do. And it's a little less hottish in Arizona. So cold shower, and what that does is like, it wakes you up, and it's a hard thing. That's another thing. It's like, this is a discipline I'm going to do. It's like I have to override my cushy comfort. Like, oh, I don't want. I'm like, shh, get your ass in there. You're going to commit to doing something. I do that, and then I go out because it's really important to get low-level light in your eyes. It helps you set your circadian rhythm. So I do that, and then take the dog for a walk, and then I come back and I do some like meditation and start my day. But it's the physical stuff that's really important to. I'm really into the health stuff, as you can tell.
And I love hearing what people have to say. And it's understanding that everybody is different. Some people wake up and they immediately meditate and there's stillness. And some people are like, I need to move.
Yeah.
I need to listen to things. I need the auditory stuff. It's kind of like, you. So, but at times you have to do things that are out of your comfort zone to try. Because this is everything we're saying. You can't stay in the cush. You have to stretch. But you also do know what you respond best to.
Yeah, I live next to a golf course, and I've been here for a few years, but just now, like, I'm like committed. We're doing a couple miles a day, doggy boy, we're going. And just to be because I live in the desert, right? And so I live in a part of Scottsdale, Arizona, where there's more mature trees. There's like walking green belt and golf course, and just to be there, it's an oasis. It's like, so I walk near the trees. So to me, that's the meditation. That's part of it. It's just like, slowing down, breathing with the dog, and being just like, that sets me up. And I'm moving, right? And I'm in the sun, and it's just all the things. And so,
Yes.
yeah. And then I don't eat, I delay breakfast because I do the intermittent fasting thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found that that really works for me. I don't
mhm,
eat
mhm.
until a lot of times until noon,
Oh,
1.
nice. Good, good, good. That's,
Yeah, just 'cause it's just kinda become part of the habit.
yeah, it's better for your body. I learned
Mhm.
that by listening to all these people I listen to. And it helps with your blood sugar. It just helps so much. It's just a better way to, it's just much better on your body. So, yeah.
Mm. So interesting. So check out intermittent fasting, everybody.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, okay, third and final question, which kind of wraps this up and puts a nice little bow on everything, which is why do you think creativity is important?
It gives us life.
Mm.
I think, I mean, if you look at every single thing in your environment came from a creative spark,
Mhm.
right? Like everything, everything. And so when we tap into it, we tap into that which is moving, right? Like we tap into life, energy, generative. It's the future. It's forward. It's expression. It's just. I think a life without creativity and expression is devoid of all of it, right? It's just. It's what did Thoreau living a little what is that? I got that wrong. Anyway, so
Yeah.
basically a life that's not worth living. It's just the,
Mhm.
you know. So
Can't even imagine.
exactly, right?
Can't even imagine. I was like, I'd have some students when I was teaching high school level, middle school, high school, and the kids in the situation didn't have a choice to be there. It wasn't an elective.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be like, Miss Citron, like, I don't want to do art. And I'm like, you want to get me started on this? Like, the shoes that you're wearing
Yeah,
were
yeah,
designed by someone. Someone had the concept for
exactly,
them, someone
exactly.
designed them, a manufacturer made them. The music that you listen to, somebody wrote the music, somebody sings the music, somebody actually records the music and allows you to be able to hear it. The building that we're sitting in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah,
it's everything. So you
right.
don't have to know how to draw or paint. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm asking
Mm,
you to do is be
so good.
curious and use your imagination.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That's what we're doing.
And what I want to say is don't let shame take you out of it, right? Because that's what happens is like even me, like, oh, I'm not really a designer, I'm not really, shut up, yes you are, right? And it's our own little
Mhm.
way, it's our own little way of whatever our spaces, but our stories about not enoughness, or maybe somebody, how many times somebody read something in an elementary school, silenced them, that was wrong, or oh, you sang off pitch,
Yes.
and it
Yep.
shuts them down, right? So that's the sadness, right? It's like, don't let anybody shut you down, even just do it for your own self. You don't have to get it on art gallery. You don't have to, just
Yep.
sing to your own self. It's just be in the energy of it.
Be in the energy of it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Therese, how can people get in touch with you?
They can find me at thereseskelly.com, but also find me on Facebook. Not my business page. That kind of sucks. My personal page. There's no creativity on my business page. That's just houses my podcasts. You can go there. I got great podcasts. But my personal page, you will see the creativity. You'll see pictures of the dog and the boyfriend and all my words and all the things. So that's what I would suggest.
Mm, wonderful.
ThereseSkellyAZ.com, I think. Therese Skelly. You'll find it. It's easy to find.
And I'll put it in the show notes and everything.
Perfect.
So it'll all be there. So before we say our goodbyes, is there anything else that is sitting with you where you're like, oh, I have to say that, or are we good?
I want you to tune into, like, I think, Alice, we get so accustomed to saying, well, what do you think I should do? Like
Mm,
we give our power away. And the work I do with people is saying, like, get quiet. If it's in you, it's right. There's a divine design in that, and then everything has to be provided from that, right? So people say, well, I have this idea, but I don't know, what do you think? Well, let's go back to your idea. So I want you to really get
mm,
used to what's on the inside of me, what's living, like what is in there. And some people might hear that, some people might like have it in their heart, some people might get it kind of in their gut, or however you get that answer. start just going, what wants to be shown right now? And so like with my meditations, I'll say, what does your body want? What does your heart want? What does your soul want? Like there's many ways to access it, but make sure you're asking. You gotta know. Like that's how we do these things, because we know I'm like stink on shit to what's going on in me. Like there's some energy, right? And so you have to know. Get in the habit of tuning inside. However you do it, that's where the gold lies.
Thank you so much for hanging out for this hour and chatting with us. So freaking inspiring.
This was really fun. Really, really fun. Really happy to be with you, darling.
Oh my gosh. I'm so inspired. I can't even tell you, everybody. And I'm sure everybody else is also. And this is what this space is about. This space is all about inspiring each other, connecting, and sharing stories. I believe we've always needed this, but I think we need it now more than ever.
Yeah,
more than ever.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for hosting it. This was an amazing interview. You're a fabulous interviewer.
Well, thank you. And you are a fabulous interviewee. And it's all about the conversations. So it's what it's all about. So everybody listening, whether you're here live or on the replay, we know that you could be doing anything with your hour, and we appreciate you so much hanging out with us. So please like, follow, share, all of that good stuff. Leave reviews on any place that you listen to your podcast, because this is how we can reach more people, because this is what this is about. We need to empower people so they can actually see themselves within this definition of creativity.
Right.
So wherever you're listening in the world, I wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and look forward to connecting soon. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye now.
Feeling inspired? Let's just get rid of this. Throw away this whole perfectionism thing. This whole concept that we have to know how to do everything. You know what? You don't. Let's just do things and try things and realize what we like and what we don't like. It's all part of the process. This self-awareness feels so good. You feel more connection to yourself, connection to others, and be a happier, more joyful person. Just imagine that. So you are where you are in the process. So you can dip your toe in the water to try new things at a slower pace, or you can dive right in. Here at I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing, we meet you where you are. So there are so many ways to check us out. Explore our experiential kits. They have everything in them that you need to try new things. You don't have to buy anything else but this kit, and just explore. There's Creative Shui, which is 7 elements to joy and happiness. Through the publishing house, Express Yourself Publishing, multi-author books, coffee books, solo book opportunities. It is all about expression, all about it. And it's, again, just trying these things and realizing what you're good at. Don't all of a sudden think that you only fit into one box, because we don't. We are not made for boxes. There is also my TV show, I Am Creative. Check it out. The links are all in the body of this podcast. You can just click the link. And you know what? Don't say, maybe I'll check it out tomorrow. Life's too short. Just click it. See what it's about. There is honestly no judgment. It's all about exploring the possibilities, expressing yourself, and expanding your thinking. I will give you the website, which is iamcreativephilly.com. So I Am Creative Philly, PHILLY.com. And just remember that you are an expressive being, so own it. I am looking forward to hearing your story, because we all have one.